Christopher Nolan is one of few filmmakers who are consistent with themes and the storytelling tools that are being used, which you can trace all the way back to his first feature film, Following, from 1998. And throughout Nolan's career, he has managed to evolve these tools, perfect them even, to that point that it wouldn't be a Nolan film if they weren't used. But let's start with the beginning, which means the end, or the middle, because that's usually how Christopher Nolan starts his films. He usually never starts directly from the beginning of the story. He instead shows us glimpses of what's to come, what the story will be about, or where the story eventually will take us. Or that he introduces us to something that makes our imagination flow from the very first image. A bunch of hats in the middle of nowhere, with a magician telling us how a magic trick is set up. Images that are taken both from the middle of the movie and the end. This means that the story itself could be a form of a flashback, a story retold from one of the main character's perspective. A memory.
You don't remember saying that.
Well, that's the thing. I have this condition.
A condition?
It's my memory.
And having someone tell us the story for us in this way creates an unreliable narrator, which is a powerful tool that adds an extra layer of complexity to his films. These narrators often keep the audience guessing and encourage them to actively engage in the movie. Some of these narrators, like Leonard from Memento, are unreliable due to a clear memory problem, while others, like the protagonist in Following or Cobb in Inception, makes us suspicious that we can't fully trust them due to their profession or inability to grasp onto reality. The unreliable narrator forces the audience to be more active when watching one of Nolan's films, as they must constantly question the truthfulness of the information they are given.
The following is my explanation. More of an account of what happened.
In The Prestige, the use of multiple timelines and an unreliable narrator in Angier's journal adds an extra level of complexity to the story. As the story unfolds, it is revealed that Borden knew all along that Angier would read his notebook, making the notebook an unreliable narrator for Angier. However, the journal that Borden reads in prison also uses the same trick, making it unreliable for Borden and the viewers as well.
I must leave you, Borden. Yes, you, Borden. Sitting there in your cell, reading my diary.
The use of an unreliable narrator allows Nolan to keep the audience on their toes and encourages them to engage with the film on a deeper level.
It was supposed to just be completely random. And when it stopped being random, that's when it started to go wrong.
Nolan's characters often grapple with psychological disorders or traumas, which becomes a prominent theme in his films. For instance, Bruce Wayne's fear of bats in Batman Begins shapes his character arc as he confronts and overcomes it. Harvey Dent's dual personality in The Dark Knight showcases the destructive nature of psychological trauma.
It's all right, listen.
Similarly, Angier in The Prestige and Cobb in Inception struggle with visions of their deceased wives as a result of their past traumas. Angier relives the tragic moment of his wife's death, while Cobb's wife appears to him as if she is still alive, blurring the lines between reality and hallucination.
No, she is not real.
How do you know that?
She's just a projection. Fisher is real.
However, in Memento, the psychological disorder becomes the driving force behind the storytelling. Leonard's memory loss requires the audience to experience events in a reverse timeline to understand his condition and follow the story. This unique approach makes Leonard's disorder central to the narrative and highlights Nolan's ability to use psychological themes to drive his films.
Okay, so what am I doing? Oh, I'm chasing this guy. No, he's chasing me.
time is arguably the most distinctive hallmark of Christopher Nolan's films. He often uses time as a storytelling tool, using non-linear narratives or presenting it as a concept that his characters must grapple with. This theme not only pervades the narrative, but also features prominently in the film's soundtrack. The concept of time is present in every Nolan film, including Dunkirk, which might seem to be his most straightforward work. Even though the movie appears to unfold in a cohesive manner, it is actually divided into 3 distinct timelines. The beach scenes take place over several days, the boat sequences occur within 24 hours, and the aerial segment happen within an hour. This representation of time might also reflect each character's subjective perception of it. Those who need assistance the most experience it as an interminable stretch, while those who are trying to aid them have a different experience altogether, as if time is not enough. Memento also utilizes its protagonist's memory loss as a device to tell the story in a reverse chronological order. In fact, there are 2 timelines in the film, one moving backward and the other moving forward, until they converge at the end of the movie, or rather the beginning of the story, depending on how you want to look at it. And Tenet, Interstellar and Inception use the concept of time on a more intellectual and scientific level in order for our protagonists to solve their problems. Each film offers a distinct method for traveling through or warping time and space.
Gravity can cross the dimensions, including time. Apparently.
One of Christopher Nolan's recurring themes is the idea of justified dishonesty. His protagonists believe that their actions are necessary, even if it means keeping others in the dark. In The Dark Knight, both Batman and Gordon are willing to deceive in order to maintain faith in Harvey Dent among the citizens of Gotham. This same theme is evident in Memento, where Leonard ponders at the end of the movie.
Do I lie to myself to be happy?
He is willing to justify his actions as being for the greater good, even if that means punishing the innocent. Nolan's exploration of justified dishonesty can be traced back to his first feature film, Following, in which the protagonist commits crimes to become a better writer. However, this dishonesty comes at a cost for all of Nolan's protagonists. For the young man in Following, the price is imprisonment. For Leonard, it's a cycle of violence and death. And for Batman, it's the breaking of his moral compass.
I was meant to inspire good, not madness, not death.
Christopher Nolan's films often leave a lasting impression on the audience. He doesn't let the story end with the closing credits, rather it continues in the minds of the viewers long after they have left the cinema. Nolan achieved this by incorporating big reveals or twists at the end of his movies, which force the audience to rethink what they have just seen. Every moment, every word, and every action becomes significant as viewers try to piece together the puzzle and arrive at the conclusion presented in the movie. For example, how did a burglar set up the murder framing in Following? And why did we not realize that Borden in The Prestige was actually 2 brothers? However, Nolan sometimes opts for an open ending, where the audience must fill in the gaps left by the filmmaker. Will Batman return, or can Blake save Gotham when needed? Is Cobb truly back in reality, or has he been deceived all along? Nolan's greatest strength as a filmmaker is that he doesn't abandon the audience once the film is over. This aspect makes the impact of his movies so much more powerful. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. If I missed anything, please let me know in the comments below. Oh, and one more thing.